Good evening. Good evening and welcome to Central United Methodist Church. We are so grateful for each of you coming to attend this event. My name is Stacy Lundy. I'm the senior pastor here at Central United Methodist Church, and on behalf of our congregation, we welcome you to this space. This evening, we wanted to host a nonpartisan civil opportunity for you to get to know your candidates. Local elections matter so much, and so few people have typically determined the outcome of them. So we're so grateful for you and your attentiveness and your thoughtfulness to be part of this forum. Thank you as well to other local congregations for helping to publicize this event. This is not a debate, but it is an opportunity for candidates to speak directly to you, the voters, whether you're here in person or watching our live stream. You can find our live stream at a later time on our website, concordcentral.org, or by searching YouTube for Central United Methodist Church. As we begin, I'd like to offer a prayer for us. God of us all, we give you thanks for people who are willing to run for public office, who are willing to offer service for the community, and to seek to serve the common good. We are here, O Lord, because we desire the fruitfulness that you bring in our lives and in our community. You desire the fruitfulness of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So be with us in our listening, in our speaking, and in our community building, we pray. Amen. Central United Methodist Church has been in a series we're calling the Purple Church Initiative. The third week concludes this week. You can find others on our YouTube channel. We've been trying to set some guideposts for our community, including 3 practices, which are: I will be unusually interested in others, I will stay in the room with difference, and I will stop comparing my best with your worst. And it is in the spirit of those 3 practices, that we offer this event tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Lundy. Certainly want to thank Central United Methodist Church for this opportunity for us to learn about candidates for the city of Concord, mayor, and city council. We have a few elected officials here today, both from Concord and Kannapolis. We welcome you. Thank you for participating. Our folks from the North Carolina General Assembly are in Raleigh taking care of business. Maybe they'll have a budget someday. We'll see. But we'll dive right in. I'm Mark Clements. I'm the editor of the Independent Tribune here in Concord. We cover Cabarrus County, Concord, Kannapolis, Harrisburg, Midland, and the like. Did I leave Mount Pleasant out? I don't want to do that. They always say they're the redheaded stepchild, so we don't want to do that. I've done a number of these things over the years, and I'll tell you one quick story, and then we'll dive right into it. We've got unopposed candidates coming up first. Time Warner, when they used to have the studio in Kannapolis, used to do these forums. We put the media on one side, put the candidates on the other, and it's on a raised platform. And it was like a TV show, so you do a half an hour, you're sitting there, we're asking questions, and then as they roll the credits, people would start to scoot their chair out and get ready to go out. Well, Tim Talent, who was a North Carolina representative, slides his chair back, and the next thing you know, we see him flipping up in the air. So somewhere there's the videotape of state representative with his hands flying up in the air and going from there. Irvin, I think you've probably been on one of those panels one of these times. But anyway, let's dive right into what we're going to do here tonight. First up is unopposed candidates. We do have one unopposed candidate who was not able to be here tonight. Terry Crawford, councilman. He's got a good excuse. It's his 55th wedding anniversary. He's out of town with his wife. I think they've got a nice trip to Charleston, so we want to wish them a happy anniversary. 55, man, that's a lot of times. Yeah, you know where his priorities are tonight, and rightfully so. The other unopposed candidate is Betty Stocks. Councilperson Stocks is going to have 8 minutes. She's going to share with you about her emphasis as a city council person. We're not going to ask her any questions. We're going to give her 8 minutes. And if Ms. Stocks would come forward, and we've got a microphone for you, and we'll let you take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to Central United Methodist Church and everyone who helped to organize this forum. I won't take 8 minutes, but as you know, as I said, I'm Betty Stocks. I am a native of Concord. I was born, raised here, raised my children here. I grew up in the Logan community. I graduated from Concord High School. Following high school, years down the road, I went and obtained higher education. I have degrees in criminal justice from Rowan Cabarrus Community College and from Barbara Scotia College, and I also have a Master's of Public Administration from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. So why am I running for re-election? I am running for re-election because I sincerely care about the citizens of Concord. And I believe that I have a lot to offer, and there's unfinished business since being on council. We have accomplished a lot, but there's more work to be done, and I want to be part of that and to make an impact here in the city of Concord. So what are my qualifications? Excuse me. I've shared with you my educational background. From my career background, I served over 28 years, the City of Concord Police Department. I was fortunate enough to retire as Deputy Chief of Police, where I served over administration. So my background there, I learned a lot by being in administration, from preparing and working with the budget, to facility, maintenance and operation, to technology, to hiring and recruiting. So I learned a lot in that administrative role. So I don't have an opponent, but if I were to have an opponent, I would say that I'm unique because of my background. It gives me an added edge. I can't imagine coming into city council with no idea, no background, no experience, but my career afforded me to have that edge when I came in to city council. Taxes are a big part of our conversation these days, and we know that. But my top priorities are going forward a continuation of affordable housing and everything that comes along with that, including infrastructure. And not just affordable housing, but housing in general. We need a diverse types of housing across the city, from affordable to workforce, we got to deal with public housing to executive housing. So how do we manage that? How do we balance that? How do we move forward with that? And my strategy would be to address those issues is to continue to plan, continue to assess, and continue to work with our community partners. We have a strong partnership with WeBuild in getting more affordable housing into Concord. We have partnerships with Habitat for Humanity, and then there's private partnerships as well as the nonprofits. So my strategies would be to continue to work with those partners and continue to support the allocation that we set aside annually in the city budget to support affordable housing. I think which comes out to about $1.8 million a year. Am I right, Linda? get that number right. Another issue I've heard is, should City of Concord Council become partisan? I do not support that. You know, I've in all of my years of dealing with and providing service to the citizens of Concord, I never asked anybody, are you a D, or R, or U? You know, and we don't have buckets with those labels on them, so I do not support that. I think we need to work together and not create division. And in closing, I would like to say, and just thank all of the candidates that are here, or they're not here, but thank you for, you know, having the courage to run for public office. You know, it requires a lot of time, talent, and resources to do so. And whatever the outcome is, I look forward to working with whoever ends up in office come November.
Thank you, Councilperson Stocks. We have next up the mayoral candidates. We have 3 candidates: Steve Morris, Alice Williams, and Lori Clay. Alice and Steve, if you all would come forward. We've got 25 minutes for the Mayor's Forum. Lori Clay, in August, had accepted the invitation to participate, has since declined to be with us. She has sent us written remarks, and this is quoting from Lori Clay. Thank you for the invitation to participate. I am grateful for the work you do to foster civic dialogue and community engagement. Unfortunately, I must prioritize events that most directly align with the support behind my campaign. I must focus my time where it will have the greatest impact. And again, Lori Clay expresses her regret in not being able to be here. The questions, are we good? All right, we will start with Steve Morris with our first question. Or we can start with Alice. Okay. I didn't realize we're gonna, sorry. Steve, we'll start with you. In 3 minutes, introduce yourself to us. Tell us why you're running for public office, what are your qualifications, and what separates you from your opponents. And again, 3 minutes for that.
Great. Thank you, Mark. I am Steve Morris. I grew up in Kannapolis and have been grateful to have called Concord home for the past 40 years. My dad drove a Trailways bus. My mom was a homemaker. My grandparents worked at Cannon Mills and ran a community grocery store. From them, I learned to work hard, you tell the truth, and you look out for your neighbors. I carried those lessons with me. I ran florist shops in Concord, Kannapolis, and Salisbury. Later, I ran the Gym Theater for almost 30 years. For me, it wasn't just a business. It was about keeping a piece of our history alive and giving families a place to come together. I love to hear people share their memories. This is where my wife and I had our first date. This is where my child saw their first movie. This is where I had my first job. For the last 12 years, I've served as a county commissioner, 9 of those as chairman. During that time, we expanded mental health services, opened new schools, and brought in billions in investment and thousands of jobs. That taught me how important it is to plan for the future while protecting what makes a community special. So why run for mayor now? The truth is, I could have stepped back. I could have said I did my part and leave it at that. But when I look at Concord today, I see a city that is growing fast. Growth is not slowing down. And if we are not intentional, it will overwhelm us. I know how to make sure that it does not. I've done this work before, and I'm ready to do it again. As mayor, my focus will be on the basics that matter to every family, making sure our infrastructure keeps up with growth so that our neighborhoods are not left behind, making sure that we keep strong employers here so young people can build a life in Concord, making sure housing options fit our residents so teachers, nurses, and first responders can live in the city they serve. That is why I am here, because Concord matters too much to me to walk away now, because I know from experience that when you bring people together, plan wisely, and keep your eye on the future, you can create real progress that lasts. Thank you.
You made it under time, just under the wire. I should have reminded our candidates, we do have Bob Anderson timing for us today. Bob is in the front row. He will hold up a sign for you for 30 seconds. And when it gets to the end, if he holds up stop, I'll interrupt you. So I have no problem doing that. But anyway, I know that won't be an issue. We're going to go now to Alice Williams. Alice, in 3 minutes, introduce yourself to us. Tell us why you're running for public office. What are your qualifications? And what separates you from your opponents?
Good evening. My name is Elise Williams.
Elise, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
My apologies.
I'm honored to stand before, well, actually, I'm sitting before you, right? So I'm honored to be here today as a candidate for the mayor of the city of Concord. I first would like to take a moment to thank the Cabarrus County Democrats, the Cabarrus County Senior Democrats, the Black Political Caucus, Red, Wine, and Blue for their endorsements. I was born in Los Angeles, and I earned my Bachelor of Science degree from Virginia State University. I spent many years working in human resources. As a human resources manager, I managed the function throughout North America, which included Canada and the US. I later went on to be a senior consultant, where I've helped leaders of companies to resolve issues through strategic communication. But more than a resume, what brings me to this moment is a deep sense of gratitude. Concord has afforded me the opportunity, as a single mother of 3 children, to raise 3 great, incredible children in a safe, vibrant community that helped shape them. They provided them with an excellent education, which helped them to matriculate into top universities across the nation. My daughter's here in the audience, my oldest, and she's a recent graduate of Georgetown Law, and she'll be practicing law in Los Angeles. I'll miss her. I've been a resident of Concord for 19 years. I've chosen to be in Concord to raise my family. I just can't think of a better city, and I'm so grateful for all that it has afforded me. I'm running for mayor because I know it's time to give back. Empty nest will do that to you. I like to use my experience with leadership, budgeting, communication, and community building, which is very important to me, to ensure that every family in Concord has the same opportunities as mine. Concord continues to be a growing city, and with growth comes both opportunity and responsibility. As mayor, I will champion a strong economy that supports small business owners, entrepreneurs through training, mentorship, and access to capital. Equitable investments in underserved communities, which includes addressing the issues with food deserts, and above all, transparency and trust. I will stand in the gap and be the voice of the people. I will work hard to ensure residents are informed and included in decision-making. I humbly ask for your support and your vote, so together we can ensure that Concord will not simply grow, but thrive. Thank you, and I'm grateful, and with your vote, I will be the next mayor of the city of Concord.
Thank you, Elise Williams. Very good. You both under time.
Hey,
Second question, and we're going to alternate. Ms. Williams, you'll have the opportunity for this question. Second question is also for 3 minutes. Everyone agrees that taxes should be low and growth managed. Beyond those two agreed upon goals, what are your top 2 priorities?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So I have to say, and I've said this in other forums and other settings, but I say it and I'll say it again and again. Affordable housing and public housing. We, as a resident of Concord, we have a public housing facility that needs addressing. Sadly, 3 siblings, Stephen, Daniela, and their younger sister, all perished in that fire. And for whatever reason, they have not refurbished, they have not decided to tear it down, and it's gone between HUD and the city. I'm here to tell you that in that scenario, I am here to stand, and really every scenario that will help all of the citizens in Concord, to stand in the gap and advocate for those residents. I can tell you honestly, and here I am in church, if I were a child and my bus stop was there, I would be terrified to walk by there every day. And I don't find that to be acceptable. So when I tell you that's one of my top priorities, it absolutely is. And then my next priority would be business, bringing small businesses to Concord. I chose a career in HR, and my primary goal was to help people to get a job. I believe in small businesses. They are the cornerstone of our community, and I'm here to help to support them and make sure that benefits are equally and equitably distributed amongst the citizens of Concord.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Same question, again, 3 minutes. Steve Morris. Everyone agrees taxes should be low and growth managed. Beyond those 2 agreed upon goals, what are your top 2 priorities?
I would say my number 1 priority is continued economic development. We need to make sure that we have a diversified tax base here in Concord. While we have tremendous residential development, we need to work hard to make sure that we have industrial development. We need to grow our tax base. We need to provide jobs. As I mentioned in my opening comments, we need to provide an environment where young people can be successful here in Concord. That is one of the number 1 priorities. Number 2, I think, as mentioned before, and of course, I think you excluded growth from that, but we have infrastructure issues here in the city. Our city council is going to have to make some very serious decision over the next year or so as to how they want to address our water and sewer capacity. We have a number of options that are available to us, and it's going to require some serious folks that are willing to do their homework to make those decisions as to which direction we go as far as providing for our future growth, and also how we're going to pay for it. So those would be the top 2 priorities.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. In 2 minutes, we'll alternate again. So Steve, you'll start with this one. In 2 minutes, should our city politics be more partisan? It has been debated in the North Carolina State Legislature that the City of Concord elections be partisan. Candidates should run as Republican, Democrat, or Independent. The Republican Executive Committee and the Democratic group have endorsed candidates. Do you support the effort to make us more partisan?
I absolutely do not support that action. I think that partisan elections in the city of Concord would be bad. We need to find things that will bring us together rather than issues that will divide us. I mentioned at the forum the other night, during the 12 years I served on the county commission, I received literally thousands of telephone calls, emails about a variety of issues. Never once did I ask anybody what their party affiliation was. I think Betty made that same comment. And I think that's true of most everybody that currently serves. But I think that would be extremely unhealthy. More importantly, the majority, the largest group of voters in Cabarrus County and in the city of Concord and in the state of North Carolina are unaffiliated voters. If we made our city elections partisan, then all of those folks would have to get thousands of signatures on petitions in order to even have an opportunity to be on the ballot. So absolutely not.
All right. Again, 2 minutes. Ms. Williams, should our city politics be more partisan? It's been debated in the North Carolina State Legislature that the city of Concord elections be partisan. Candidates should run as Republican, Democrat, or Independent. The Republican Executive Committee and the Democratic group have endorsed candidates. Do you support that effort to make us more partisan? Again, 2 minutes.
When I made the decision, and actually the deciding factor, when I made the decision to run as a candidate for the mayor of the city of Concord, my very first call was across the board. And I called a friend, a colleague, and I said, hey, and I walked her through it. And the following day, I talked to a senior representative of the city, and we talked in depth about the role of mayor. And she said to me, I asked her, the HR and me came out, and I said, what qualities do you think a success that is needed to be successful in the role of mayor? And ironically, the first thing she said was, we need someone who can reach across the aisle, regardless of the aisle, and to get things done. Because we cannot get things done unless we can unite and come to an agreement. That's one of the things I admire about City Council. I had the honor of speaking with a couple of the members, and they said to me, most of our decisions are unanimous. So the fact that they can come together as a group with different backgrounds, coming from different places, and still make a decision. So what is important is to be able to come together in unity and make a decision. And to tie back to your question, should we have a partisan race? I know that it goes back and forth and it's personal and with the city of Concord or with the whole county or with the state, but if I'm honest, I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. I want to do what's best for the residents and will help them to get what they need to succeed and have a thriving community.
Thank you. Ms. Williams. Next question. You will start this set of questions. In 2 minutes, in the next 5 years, Concord is projected to need about 15,000 housing units, single homes and rentals.
Yep.
Of these 15,000, we need 8,000 affordable units. What is your strategy for addressing these needs?
Great question. Great question. So in the past, I have been a licensed realtor, and so housing is very dear to me. I take that seriously. And so, as I said, affordable housing is one of the top things. So, being a single mother with 3 kids and limited resources, you learn to be an advocate and you learn to be resourceful. So what I say is, I'm a member, I'm attending Concord 101. And so we talked about housing and some of the challenges that the city faces and some of the benefits and assets and the great things about affordable housing. But what I say is education. I think it's important to educate consumers, meaning home buyers, especially first-time home buyers, and not just give them smoke and mirrors of what appears to be a good deal, right? So I say education. I think we need to help them to understand how to utilize resources and tap into resources. There are grants. There are closing grants that are up to $10,000 and sometimes even more. You can tag on one grant with another. They're not separate. Like if you get one, you can't get another. So I say if we educate our residents and let them know about all the programs for affordable housing, we absolutely can promote that. But I know people say, oh, housing, it increases taxes and things like that. Hey, listen, I'm a homeowner. I want fair taxes. So I don't want you to think that I'm just running amok saying, let's just go wild. But there are resources. I say, let's look into some grants, and so you don't just put the burden on the city. They have federal grants, state grants. Let's get out there. I'm here to be that voice and to stand in the gap and have some transparency and let residents know what resources are out there so they too can be a homeowner.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Mr. Morris, in 2 minutes, in the next 5 years, Concord is projected to need 15,000 housing units, single homes, and rentals. Of these 15,000, we need 8,000 affordable units. What is your strategy for addressing these needs?
I think going back to our last questions, one of the most important issues in building these 15,000 new housing units will be the availability of water and sewer. So the decisions that our city council makes will determine whether we're able to accommodate those. As far as the affordable housing, I am a very strong supporter of We Build and the work that they are doing to create affordable housing in Concord. As a county commissioner, I led the effort to establish a $2 million loan pool fund that We Build is currently using to provide construction loans for affordable housing to builders that otherwise would not be incentivized to do that. That is a revolving fund that will continue to be used over and over, and hopefully that will grow as the years pass. Was also able to secure about $3 million in funding for Cabarrus Cooperative Ministries, Rebuilders Campus, which is at the old Brown Mill here in Concord, that will provide people with opportunities for lessons and jobs to lead them to home ownership. So I think those things in combination, anytime that we can do public-private partnerships, and if we can partner with our faith-based community, we receive a lot greater benefits.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Both candidates will have now 2 minutes to share their closing statement. As we alternate, we'll start with Mr. Morris.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. We don't get too many opportunities to get in front of the public. I regret that all three of our mayoral candidates are not here tonight, because I think this would be an excellent opportunity for you to see us all together and hear the different answers to our questions. I certainly am committed to serving the city of Concord as mayor. I look forward to that opportunity. You were much briefer than I expected. I was prepared for a lot more questions, but hopefully we'll have an opportunity to talk one-on-one with many of you before you leave this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. 2 minutes now, Ms. Williams, for your closing statement.
I have to say I'm really enjoying this evening, so thank you for having me, first and foremost. But this campaign is not about politics, it's about the people. It's about building a city where every child has a future, every family has a home, and every voice has a seat at the table. Concord is a city with momentum. Let's make sure it's in a direction that benefits us all. I'm here for the people, I'm here to be a voice for the people. People ask about my experience. I'm here with a fresh lens. I'm here as a citizen and understand the changes and advances that need to be made. And I think Concord is, in fact, I know Concord is a city rich with resources. I just want to be that advocate to let the community know about the resources. Concord 101 has shown me how rich the resources are in Concord. Let's make sure all of our residents are able to reap the benefits of those, just through communication. This true transparency. This doesn't cost any money. This is just to say, hey neighbor, let's visit downtown and see how beautiful it is with the beautification project. It is just amazing. I love walking downtown. So, thank you. I'm here, and I'm here for the people.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Our mayoral candidates, Lori Clay, Elise Williams,
Yes, sir.
Steve Morris. Give them a big round of applause. We're going to move on now to the council race for seat number 4. The candidates are Kason Gardner, Jack Lambert, John Paul, and Avarius Santana, and she would probably need to correct her first name. I am horrible with pronunciation, so we'll let you tell me what that is when we get there. I do have a brief statement to read. As you notice, we do not have Mr. Paul here tonight. He previously accepted our invitation to this forum, had it on his calendar, and then he wrote the following to us yesterday. Quote, "A neighbor in my subdivision has an invitation for their study group that I plan on attending. I will not be at the forum." And that is from candidate John Paul. We're going to have the same set of questions for our candidates for District 4. What we will do is we will start down the line. With 3 people, it's a little easier. We don't have to double back quite as bad on that one as we did before. First question, we'll start with Jack here. In 3 minutes, introduce yourself to us. Why are you running for public office? What are your qualifications? And what separates you from your opponents?
Good evening. I'm Jack Lambert. I'd like to tell you my story. I'm a proud, lifelong resident of Cabarrus County. I'm a proud second-generation small business owner of a family business right here in Concord. I graduated from Central Cabarrus. I went on to Catawba College, the first one in my family to attend college, and earn a bachelor's degree in the administration of justice. I hold a professional certification in municipal finance from Rowan Cabarrus, a professional certification in small business management and accounting from Duke University. I'm the chairman of the Historic Cabarrus Association, the vice chairman of the City of Concord Stormwater Management Advisory Commission, a board member of Cabarrus Area Crime Stoppers, and I serve on several other boards and committees as well. I got into this race because I have a theory. I believe that Concord's future, that our future, should be shaped by common sense, community-driven solutions, not by partisan politics and not by special interest, but by our friends, our community, and by our neighbors. What separates me from my friends here on stage, I believe I'm the most qualified candidate for this important role. I'm the only candidate to serve on a city board or committee. I'm the only candidate to be a graduate of Concord 101 and the Citizens Public Safety Academy. More importantly than that, I'm the only candidate in my race to have not accepted an endorsement from or taken thousands of dollars from any major political party. Yet I'm the candidate that's raised the most money in our race. That's because it's come from my own pocket because I care, and more importantly, it's come from you, the everyday people of Concord, who I know are sick and tired of sending leaders to office, both at the local level in Raleigh and in Washington, who only care about the interest of a select few and not about the interest of everyday people. So I'll leave you with a challenge. Don't think about this as a public forum. Think about this as a job interview, because that's what we're doing for you tonight. Who do you trust to manage millions of dollars of your taxpayer money? Who do you trust to make sure that your trash is picked up on time? Who do you trust to make sure that you have clean drinking water available to you? Who do you trust to make sure when you call CPD that a well-equipped officer responds timely and with everything they need to address any situation that you might have? I think I have the qualifications and the character to serve Concord well as your next city councilman. I look forward to a continued conversation, and I look forward to meeting each of you later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. Next up, Ms. Santana, and if you will say your first name so we get it right.
Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Yes.
I'll try to get it right next time. Alvarez.
Thank you.
Here's the question we have for you. It's 3 minutes. Introduce yourself. Why are you running for public office? What are your qualifications? And what separates you from your opponents?
Thank you for the question, and good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with what separates me first, because I think this is very important, and it's one of the biggest issues that's happening not just in Concord, but everywhere in America. I was raised by my grandmother, and I am 1 out of 14, and my dad is 1 out of 33. I grew up in a household where dissent is the only thing we knew, where we didn't agree on absolutely anything, even when we thought it was the right thing to do. You need individuals that really are willing to work with others, because running for city council and being on council, it is not a solo sport. I would like to say that I am also a graduate of college, so I do have 2 bachelor's degrees. I majored in political science and pre-law, but I was also very fortunate to obtain scholarships to study abroad. So I was able to study international relations and politics in both Argentina as well as Spain, seeing the differences of how the world in politics works so that it can give me a better view of where I currently live. I also have a master's. So I do have a master's of business administration, and I have a corporate background where I was able to manage over $50 million for Lowe's Corporate, a Fortune 40 organization, and I've also worked for Coca-Cola. I have been fortunate enough to start my own business, Bootstraps, because not a lot of us are being given the opportunity to have a legacy, and we are the ones building that legacy today. My company has been fortunate enough to be awarded contracts with the City of Charlotte, City of Tucson, Arizona, City of Richmond, Virginia, United Nations, managing budgets of over $100 to $200 million, creating policies where it's going to be affordable for people to live, but also the best place where you are able to work and play. Those are some of my qualifications, but I say one of my favorite and best qualifications is being able to connect with people. And this is where I ask everyone, have an open mind, and don't just take my word for it. Do your research about who a person is. I am a children's book author, and as a lifelong learner, I have prided myself in being able to write stories for children that focus on disability, as well as bringing awareness so that kids are able to see themselves reflected in books. My books were able to garner attention of Netflix to be featured so that kids can have that opportunity. So that is a little bit about me, and I really hope that you consider understanding what's at stake here. We need to ensure that Concord grows smart, but is able to provide the opportunities for everyone that's here, and not have individuals just leave and flock Concord, and then we later complain that people are just moving in and it's growing. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Santana. Next up, we have candidate Kason Gardner. In 3 minutes, introduce yourself to us. Why are you running for public office? What are your qualifications? And what separates you from your opponents?
Thank you. So my name is Kason Gardner. I'm a Concord native and have lived in this city most of my life. Last year, I, like Jack, am a first generation graduate of Catawba College, graduating with honors in with a bachelor's in economics and finance. I spent last fall as a coaching intern for the Catawba College football team before beginning my career as a financial analyst with a local startup in Concord that specializes in wealth management and real estate investing. I chose to run because from a young age I've seen numerous tax hikes. My parents took me and my siblings to every election, saw the importance of government and the importance to vote. And more importantly, I've seen the tax hikes. I've seen the lack of transparency in our government. I want to bring transparency and government accountability back, and I want to look forward at keeping Concord thriving. I've been involved in local government since middle school, lobbying for bills in Raleigh, being part of political clubs, meeting with several elected representatives, sometimes even organizing those meetings with people like former Mayor Scott Padgett. I sat on the Cabarrus County Youth Commission on through high school and was able to have a backstage pass to see the ins and outs of government that the everyday citizen doesn't always see. And I was the only candidate who, in my race, who decided on the very first day to file. I've lived in my district for 10 years and will welcome your vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. We're going to move down the line. Ms. Santana, you'll be up next for this question. In 3 minutes, everyone agrees that taxes should be low and growth managed. Beyond those two agreed upon goals, what are your two top priorities?
So one of my top priorities is going to be economic development, but from a double stand. The first one is going to be, we see all of these really large corporations that are moving in here, but are they providing those opportunities to the residents that actually live here? That is something that we have to start looking at, because when we see growth, is it really growth for the individuals that are living here? Taxes are going to continue going up, but how are we actually managing the opportunities that are here? From a small business development perspective, are companies also being awarded types of projects to be here doing the work? If we want to be a great place to live, we also have to make it a great place to work and play, because it is a combination and we are all interconnected. From an economic development perspective, we also need talent pipeline programs that are going to retain our talent and not have them flock out. A lot of our students, if we see the statistics, they leave right after high school and they go to college elsewhere. That means we are missing those opportunities to retain them here. We know that there are major corporations because these are deals that last years in order to be visible to the public. How are we creating the next talent in order to have them be employed? So that would be one of my first issues. Now, the second one, it was mentioned before, we would all have to agree that we have a housing crisis. We need more affordable housing. I know there's a lot of presentations that have been made, whether it's for mixed housing, executive housing, but what we need to really focus on is affordable housing so that lifelong residents can remain here, but also newcomers are able to afford the place that we all love.
Thank you, Ms. Santana. Mr. Gardner, you'll be up next. In 3 minutes, everyone agrees that taxes should be low and growth managed. Beyond those two agreed upon goals, what are your two top priorities?
So, number one for me is government accountability and transparency. I want to do away with closed-door meetings. I want to have the community engaged, whether that means reaching out to a prominent citizen in a certain neighborhood, having them on not in a voting manner, but at least sitting on the board, seeing what goes on with the city council, being able to take that back to their fellow citizens. Second, I want to bring fiscal responsibility. We've seen too many tax hikes in recent years. I believe that we should lower the tax incentives to mega corporations like Eli Lilly. Given our proximity to Charlotte and an international airport, businesses will come here regardless of incentives. We need to focus on the everyday citizens. How can we alleviate their tax burden? How can we keep costs of living low? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Lambert, you will be next with the same question. 3 minutes. Everyone agrees taxes should be low and growth managed. Beyond those two agreed upon goals, what are your two top priorities?
Thank you for the question. My first priority is jobs, jobs, and more jobs. Like I mentioned, I'm a small business owner of a family business. I've signed the front and back of a paycheck before. We're a second chance employer at my company, which means we hire folks with criminal records who may not have been able to get a job in any other workplace. I've seen firsthand how a job and that opportunity can change a life and can restore dignity. Every resident of Concord deserves to be able to have a job and work in the city that they live in. Economic mobility and the economic gap is one of the biggest problems facing our country right now. It is incumbent upon us here at the local level to do everything we can to provide as many good, quality, well-paying jobs as possible to the residents of Concord. In that same vein, I am absolutely for economic development. I support the work of the Cabarrus Economic Development Corporation. For every $1 that we spend in an economic incentive grant, we get on average $6 in return. My business mind tells me that is a great investment and one I want to continue to make not only in companies, but in the people of Concord. My second priority would have to be infrastructure. I've seen as the vice chairman of the Stormwater Management Advisory Commission how rapid inflation has rocked infrastructure improvement projects, not just in our city, but across our entire state and country. The fact is we have a lot of aging infrastructure in Concord, and it's all beginning to have the same type of problems that aging infrastructure will. If we want to continue to be a successful, growing city, it's about more than just old sewer pipes. It's about quality of life and making sure we have a candidate on the council who understands the real challenges that we face in our water sewer capacity issues. We were at a city council second work session earlier this week. We're already talking about a 2040 plan about how we're going to get our hands on this water and sewer allocation. We need forward thinkers who are planned strategically and make sure that we have infrastructure in place so we can continue to grow, to work, and to live all in the same community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. We'll move on to the third question. First up, we'll have Mr. Gardner. In 2 minutes, should our city politics be more partisan? It's been debated in the North Carolina State Legislature that the City of Concord elections be partisan. Candidates should run as Republican, Democrat, or Independent. The Republican Executive Committee and the Democratic group have endorsed candidates. Do you support that effort to make us more partisan?
So I look at it this way. County elections are already partisan, and I don't really believe that there are nonpartisan races. I think down the line, everyone has their own beliefs that separate them, left-leaning, right-leaning. But the key is knowing how to work together. So I don't think it's a question of partisanship. It's how can we work together to find the best candidates for the job, whether that be Republican, whether that be Democrat. But in having partisan races, I believe that would cut down on, it would help the people understand who is best suited from a major group of candidates. And I think in the long term it could help narrow down choices, giving the voters advice but still allowing them to make up their minds through the primary elections.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Lambert? In 2 minutes, should our city politics be more partisan? It's been debated in the North Carolina State Legislature that the City of Concord elections be partisan. Candidates should run as Republican, Democrat, or Independent. the Republican Executive Committee, and the Democratic group have endorsed candidates. Do you support that effort to make us more partisan?
Well, I don't need 2 minutes for this. The answer is no, absolutely not. I made it pretty clear in the beginning of my opening statement. The city government works best when it collaborates without R's or D's beside people's names. When a constituent calls me when I'm their council representative, I'm not going to ask them whether they're Republican or Democrat. Just like when you call 911 to send CPD out, they're not going to ask if you're a Republican or a Democrat. When the fire department comes to your house, they're not going to ask, are you a Republican or a Democrat? I want to share with y'all a couple interesting facts about my campaign. I've been lucky enough to secure endorsements from our sitting mayor, Bill Dush, former Concord Mayor Scott Padgett, current District 4 City Councilman J.C. McKenzie, County Commissioner Kenny Wortman, School Board Member Catherine Moore, and several more. And I don't say that to brag or to highlight myself. I say that because we're in a time where you have one of the city's longest-serving Democratic mayors, the only unaffiliated county commissioner in North Carolina, a Republican school board member, all standing up and supporting the same candidate for a local office because people are sick and tired of the partisanship that has ruined places like Washington, D.C., like Raleigh, and we sure as heck don't want it to come down here and ruin Concord, because we work best when we work together and treat each other like human beings, not like R's or D's. So when I cast a vote on the city council, it's going to be for the people, not for a political party, and I'll do everything in my power to make sure Concord City elections stay nonpartisan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. Ms. Santana, in 2 minutes, should our city politics be more partisan? It's been debated in the North Carolina State Legislature that the City of Concord elections be partisan. Candidates run as Republican, Democrat, or Independent. The Republican Executive Committee and the Democratic group have endorsed candidates. Do you support that effort to make us more partisan?
I don't believe that we should have partisan elections here in Concord. The issues that we are speaking about are day-to-day issues. If we were to step outside and there's a pothole, I don't care who fixes it, get it done. When we start creating that division, that is when we are unable to solve most of the pressing problems that are currently here. I believe that we should be focused on having those across the aisle conversations on how we can make things better, not make them worse. One of the things that I have said is, right along when it comes to also having nonpartisan elections, we need to start getting rid of all of these endorsements and carrying on somebody's legacy so that they can go ahead and endorse us for a race. This is the time when we have to really craft that path, our historical path of what we should be doing for the city ourselves, not riding off from someone else's. I believe that we all have an opportunity to make our city great. Whether you run for office or not, we are all part of that greatness that Concord has. Every single person that is here is an endorser, and it just shouldn't be stuck to the old names, the names that are recognized, the names that people are aware of. We need to have an open mind as well as nonpartisan elections so that we can solve our pressing problems.
Thank you, Ms. Santana. Mr. Lambert will start our next question. In 2 minutes, in the next 5 years, Concord is projected to need about 15,000 housing units, single homes and rentals. Of those 15,000, we need 8,000 affordable units. What is your strategy for addressing these needs?
Well, I think y'all in the audience have a unique opportunity that a lot of people don't get when observing a forum for public office. I think you have 3 candidates on the stage who are all relatively young people. And I know I speak for someone in my generation when I say there's a lot of folks out there who don't know how they're going to be able to afford a home. And that's just the truth. And I'll give y'all a raw answer to this question. There is no one-size-fits-all answer for the affordable housing crisis. It's going to take actors on every level, from the federal government passing legislation to say that multi-billion-dollar corporations can't own and rent out single-family units for 5 times what they're worth. It's going to take legislation on the state level, And it's going to take good actors at the county and city level to step in the gap and fund organizations like We Build Concord, who are using land use grants to allow families to afford homes and build lasting equity. Because for most Americans, their home is their most valuable asset. I fully support funding We Build, as well as organizations like Cooperative Christian Ministries, who are absolutely addressing the growing housing crisis in this county by stepping in the gap and refurbishing places like the Brown Mill on Cabarrus Avenue. That's going to be a crisis restoration campus for families with children and the elderly, who are the two highest growing populations of homelessness in Cabarrus County. This is going to take an effort on the public-private end to come together to make a real dent in this crisis. It's going to take us advocating to our state and federal representatives to get more movement so people have a roof over their head, which I'm a fundamental believer that everyone is entitled to a clean place to sleep and a roof over their head at night, because we're all humans, we're all citizens of Concord, and we all deserve that, and we deserve leaders who are going to fight for that when they get on the city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. Ms. Santana, 2 minutes for this question. In the next 5 years, Concord is projected to need 15,000 housing units, single homes and rentals. Of these 15,000, we need 8,000 affordable units. What is your strategy for addressing these needs?
The number one thing that I would say is going, and I absolutely agree with you, Jacket, it's going to take intergovernmental relations for us to make that work. Housing is not just a crisis that we can solve on our own. We need to be able to strengthen the relationship with commissioners, state officials, all the way to DC in order to solve that. But I am also part of the We Build Advisory Committee, and I have seen the amazing work that is currently being done to address some of this housing crisis. Now, it is not going to be solved immediately. It is going to take time, because sometimes greatness does take time. And if we want to make sure that Concord has all of the different units that we need to work with other partners like We Build and establish those different relationships with other builders that might help us. Establish relationships also with private builders that are willing to provide those opportunities for everyone that is here. Shelter is something that we all need, and it is a basic human right, and that is one of the biggest prohibitors of people not having access to other things. Without housing, you can't get a job because you can't apply for it. What address are you going to use? It is just one of the biggest delays for you to be able to prosper. And in order for us to have a prosperous Concord, we need to address the housing crisis, because as I stated before, we are all interconnected, whether we like to believe it or not. And if the housing issue starts to continues to spread, it is going to start hitting homes of others. So I would say let's strengthen relationships, not just with We Build, but also start creating a strategic plan that establishes other potential partners that can help us with building much more affordable housing.
Thank you, Ms. Santana. Mr. Gardner, in 2 minutes, in the next 5 years, Concord is projected to need about 15,000 housing units, single homes and rentals. Of these 15,000, we need 8,000 affordable units. What is your strategy for addressing these needs?
So I think that's a two-part question. I think first we need to focus on the aging infrastructure and let growth happen naturally. We need to say no to major developments like the Concord Farms proposal before we can work with departments like the NCDOT, other state and federal agencies to update our roadways, to update our sewer systems. Once we have our infrastructure repaired and expanded as necessary, then we can entertain bigger projects and let the growth happen naturally. And as far as affordable housing, I would say build build relationships with Habitat for Humanity, We Build Concord, and the Cooperative Christian Ministries, other organizations like that, both state and federal, to help us see where we can improve affordable housing, what needs to be maintained, and how we can do it responsibly.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Well, we got our final question. Ms. Santana, you'll start, and that final question is a statement. Share your closing statement. 2 minutes.
I think my closing statement has been also spread throughout every single question. The only thing that I ask of the people from Concord is be open-minded. Be open-minded to difference. Be open-minded to the unknown. Taxes have continued to rise regardless of who has been there. And if we can put someone in that has a solution to address that, provide that opportunity, provide that chance. Hey, if you don't like it, don't vote them back in. But I would say don't just focus on the known, because sometimes the known is not what's going to carry us through. As a mother of two, including a 7-year-old who speaks English, Spanish, and Chinese Mandarin, I know that Concord is growing. I know that Concord is also poised for success. Look at all of the new industries that have arrived here. We had advanced manufacturing. We have transportation, logistics, retail. And with that comes a diverse group of individuals, young, elders, cultural, competent individuals, where we can become a main hub for business, for opportunities, but for a prosperous life. But we won't know what's next across the aisle if we don't take that step. So with that, I just say, I look forward to speaking with others that are here. If you would love to ask me other questions, and if you have any pressing needs, please come to me, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of who or what you think I am, because a lot don't know me. I would love to be able to give that opportunity to share that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Santana. Mr. Gardner? Mr. Garner, 2 minutes to share your closing statement.
So I look at the people here today. Thank you for coming out and hearing what we all have to say. Thank you for inviting us. Yeah, I'll put it simply. I want government transparency and accountability back. My family has a history of being in civic service, my mother working for the police department here, my brother being a police officer here. And together, I think I want to work with our colleagues and keep Concord thriving by lowering costs of living, lowering taxes, working to increase community engagement and outreach, and working to better Concord for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Lambert, 2 minutes, share your closing statement.
Thank you. Y'all remember that challenge I gave you during my opening statement? Think about this forum like a job interview. You've had the chance to hear from me and my friends here on stage. I really asked the question, who do you believe is most qualified? Who do you trust the most with your taxpayer dollars? Because it's your money. It's your city. Win or lose this election, I'm going to continue on being involved in this community and advocating for the citizens of Concord. I've lived here my whole life. Many of you have as well. Some of you may be relatively new to the city, but I know we all have one thing in common. We love Concord because it is a place where opportunity thrives, and I want to make sure that continues. This city should be a place where everyone feels welcome, where you can start a small business, where you can retire, where you can age with dignity. Come find me after this event. I'll be here in the sanctuary and out front. I will shake every hand in this room till I'm the last person here. I appreciate y'all's time this evening. I appreciate you being here, and I'll close with this. We'll be lucky if we have 10% voter turnout in this election. That means if each of you go home and you tell 5 people about the candidates you heard here tonight, you can literally decide the fate of Concord right here in this room. Thank you all for your time. I look forward to meeting everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Lambert. Our candidates for seat number 4 for Concord City Council: Kason Gardner, Jack Lambert, John Paul, Oliveris Santana. I don't know if I got it right, did I? Close? Okay. Ask her afterwards. You'd think a guy that goes on the radio sometimes would know how to say people's name, but my apologies there. Again, thank you for all the candidates who have been here. Pastor Lundy will be coming up and having a quick word with us before we leave. I'm going to get a commercial in for you. At least 2 people have said something to me about the elections and early voting. Councilperson Dixon from Kannapolis said people are asking her if they're going to vote at the train station early. They will not. Early voting begins October the 16th. It will only be at the Church Street office of the Board of Elections. That's the old Creamery building on Church Street. The last day to register to vote in the traditional sense is October the 10th. There are other ways to register to vote if you are not registered to vote, but the simplest way is get it done before October the 10th. There are other ways to do it also, and we've got a representative of the Board of Elections here if you would like to register to vote. I would also encourage you, if you haven't checked your registration recently, do so. There are still several thousand people in North Carolina who are in limbo because of laws and oversights and various things. My niece, a very active person politically, is not her. She's one of those people. And so we called her the other day and said, hey, you need to get to the Board of Elections, get this straightened out, because we want her to vote. And we want each and every one of you to vote. I'm going to turn it to the pastor. I'm Mark Clemens, the editor of the Independent Tribune. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you here tonight. It's a great turnout. Thank you for being here.
Thank you to each and every one of you for coming and joining us in person and online. We encourage you to spread the word about this forum for those who may not have been able to attend. You can find it on our YouTube channel. If you search Central United Methodist Church Concord, you'll find us there, or find us on our website. You'll find the recording there. Thank you to Andy Langford, who is Mayor Pro Tem, for helping to organize this event. Thank you for coming, and please vote. Thank you.